AskReddit by Calmavicious. What is the worst reason to have a baby? Why? Your parents wanted grandkids. Ugh, my family would tell me that they pay for everything if I had a kid. Money was my main reason I was waiting when I was younger. I eventually had a kid and they haven't given me a fucking penny. Bunch of liars. My wife and I will jokingly bring it up when we see them. They always get embarrassed and change the subject. My dad had an incredibly fucked up and traumatizing childhood. Instead of dealing with his subsequent mental illnesses, a person at his church told him to have lots of kids. It will heal your trauma. So he had 6 and we ended up homeless at certain points and traumatized ourselves. Idiot. Sorry about this. Have you each considered having children to heal your own traumas too? To use it as a content on social media. This is my baby, Bijale. She's my favorite now that Roxanne is 2 and throws tantrums that don't fit my aesthetic. To compete with someone. The Duggars? To save the relationship. It never works, it just drags an innocent baby into a miserable situation. This is more common than people think. I have to wonder if anyone, anywhere, ever has actually improved a relationship by having a child. I'm sure some have managed to extend the life of a troubled relationship by adding a baby to the mix. But improving the relationship? Making it a relationship worth staying in? I don't see that happening. Because everyone else has one. This seems like the main reason for the people I know. So you can understand the pain I went through and understand how horrible it is. Mom and actively tries to push it. Like, when are you having kids? You are having kids, right? Then get visibly angry when she says no, she's not. She doesn't want them. When I was being especially difficult, as a child adolescent, my mom used to say, I hope someday you have a child exactly like you. I would reply, oh, thank you. Never failed to crack her up. To sell them. Daughters are being sold into child marriage and sons are sold for forced child labor in many countries. Or adoption mills. I know someone who adopted from a Central American country about 20 ago. Wonderful little girl. When the girl was about 13 or 14, she discovered that she had at least 4 siblings who had also been adopted as babies and were living in the US. Makes you wonder. It gets so much worse. After adolescence, girl began to have psychotic episodes. Turns out that she had lived in a nursery much of the first year in her life, and was completely neglected. Yes, that blows up on people at some point. She is now in an institution. To have an organ donor for later? And X200B. Edit. Thanks for all the votes. This is my highest voted comment so far. I might be a bad person XD. It said worst reasons. Having a kid for a specific gender. Yeah, I loved the comments after our second daughter was born. So are you going to have a third and try for a boy? Hell no. That's when twin girls happen. If we were destined to have a boy, it would have happened. To distract yourself from a traumatic experience, robbed at gunpoint. A long time back, a coworker told me this after our conversation about what happened. She said it'd distract me, then she said I was selfish for telling her that was a horrible idea. A lot of people use children as a lackluster attempt at avoiding therapy, which is actually exactly when you shouldn't be having a child. Surprisingly enough, you want to bring a child into the world under the idea that you'll give them the best you can so they can be happy, not the other way around. To be responsible for their disabled sibling in the future. Yes, I had a friend tell me she wanted another child so that her disabled son would have someone when if she passed away. This is why my parents kept me. My parents tried to pressure me into not joining the military or flight school because who's gonna take care of my brother if something happens to me? My dad has said multiple times since I was like 5 or 6 that I'm gonna have to take care of him when they die. I love my brother, but I want my own life too. Spare parts for an already born child with some kinda health issue. And X200B. PS. Look up Savior Babies. You just reminded me of that 911 episode. To use as a doorstop. This one needs more attention. To keep the man. Child support benefits, any money benefits. Or to keep someone stuck in a relationship with you. Downright toxic and cruel. Only have kids if you're prepared to love them unconditionally despite anything. Unless you know they end up being on the sex offender registry or anything. You're financially stable enough to give them what they need and you genuinely want kids. I know a woman who was hoping it would give her bigger boobs. There are easier ways. Using them to fulfill your childhood dreams. Forcing them to be into sports when you weren't, etc. Because you find them cute. They aren't a pet. Can confirm, puppies are cuter, and listen better. Because it's expected of you. Because your partner wants one. Because you think it will make you, or your partner or your relationship better. Babies should never come into the world with a job. Whoa, babies should never come into the world with a job. Holy crap, that's good. But to add on to that, another reason, to glorify God. Babies born into strict Christian homes aren't just born with a job but with an eternal expectation to worship God or burn in hell. It's why I no longer think I want kids. Why would I bring innocent beings into this world under threat of bow down and worship super strict doctrine or literally burn in flames for eternity? Like those are the options, lol, and you spend your life stressed and anxious trying to serve God and depriving yourself and you literally didn't ask to be here. Pardon my rant. Because it's what's expected. You're in that 26-28 age bracket. Everyone else you know is the reason I'm here. Add 4-6 years to that bracket for metropolitan areas in Europe. To try and trap a man. I'm an affair baby. My mom was a side chick for 10+ years to my dad. She met my dad through her best friend, who was my dad's spouse and sibling's mother. Mom got sick of being the side piece and got pregnant on purpose. My dad continued seeing both of them 4 years after. My sibling's mother and my father broke up. My mom and him dated but ultimately broke up because my mother is f***ing unhinged. God, yeah, this one makes no sense. This dude is a cheater, absolutely sucks. Let's make him half responsible for a living human being. I'd love to be tied to a cheating bag for 18+ years. Had crazy neighbors, constantly screaming, fighting. He even tried to burn the house down with her and their 2 kids in it. When he got out of jail, he assured me things were gonna be better now, because they were going to have another baby. There are parents that have children just so they can live their childhood dreams through their kids. Women that wanted to be dancers, so they forced their daughters to take dance lessons. Men that wanted to be sports stars so they constantly trained their children in sports. My boss at work is in her 30s, works full-time. Homeschools her only kid, cooks dinner every night, mows the lawns, does the shopping, laundry, etc. while her husband does nothing but complain. She's told me he literally sits around and watches TikTok all day. I once heard her yelling at him on the phone because he lied to his daughter, who is homeschooled, that he couldn't read and couldn't help her with schoolwork. He has no job. He does nothing. And my boss wants another baby because she thinks it'll be what motivates him to change. I'm guessing she's worried about having to pay alimony and having to likely give up half of her assets earned during the marriage, retirement accounts, etc. if she were to get divorced. Plus, her husband would likely have visitation rights to their daughter, so she might be worried about daughter getting subpar care during those visits. Still, Having another child is not a solution here. If anything, that would make her situation more miserable. The best path forward for her is to rip off the band-aid now and get divorced before she accumulates any more assets for her deadbeat husband to take. To please someone else, like your partner or parents-in-laws. Especially when you don't want it 100%. Because religion God told me to. To fix your relationship marriage. To live your unfulfilled dreams. To have someone to take care of you when you are old. They are not your labor slaves. To have a legacy. You don't have one. You are not famous. You are forgotten in 3 generations. Yeah, the last one is weird. In my family, the legacy is just our last name. There are lots of girls in my family and my dad is super concerned about there not being enough boys to carry on the family name for multiple more generations. I really want to say to him, it's literally just a name and you're gonna be dead. Why do you care? To add to a collection of babies to be sewn together into a baby Voltron. They said worst reason, not best. Welfare child support money. Oh, I commented before I read this. I know somebody that admitted to having another kid to get an increase on her food stamps. Pretty sure that and Medicaid was all she received, so I don't know how she thought the extra food stamps were going to make up for all the other costs that come with a child. To eat it. I mean, you're correct. Having a baby will help us beat our addiction, my stupid fucking brother. At least my niece has a great foster family and is there forever.